Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Happy Friday. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you, Princess D. Thank you, Denver Ashley. Thank you, Alicia Cook. Thank you, PeriGirls, for joining in for our weekly meeting of the Book Minds. Simply Moxie, thanks for joining in. Let's get this started. Hey, everybody. How's it going? I got some little Christmas tunes going. Go ahead and swipe up and share this with your followers. Hey, Denver Ashley, how are you doing? I'm excited. So, welcome to... Yes, he is. He is an amazing writer. Dr. Dyer is a genius. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining in. We'll give it a second for everybody to join in. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Bee Smith, and I am one of the leaders of the PeriGirls, and I am your host of the weekly PeriGirls Book Club. And yes, Dr. Dyer was awesome. You don't have to read with us, these chicks blog, because guess what? We read and we talk about it. So I love it. Welcome, Julie Jordan Scott. Everybody is coming on in the house. Guys, I have prepared an amazing show for you today. I've got my notes. I'm ready. I got the discussion. You get the highlights right here. Hello. I love reading, guys. I love reading and I love sharing. Thank you, Simply Moxie. Yes, guys, I'm telling you, I am at home today in my home office and I am cleaning and doing some different things around here. And reading this book is really making me think. It's making me think about everything that I have. And I've got the Christmas song playing in the background because Christmas is a time where it's centered around stuff, and we're wondering what we're going to buy someone. We're wondering what we're going to get. And so this discussion today is going to be amaze balls, as Carly would say. So is the lighting good? Is everything good? Is the sound good? I just want to make sure. Look, I'm going to make sure everything's good for this broadcast because I don't want anything to disrupt our flow. Hey, Claudia, thank you for joining in. Okay. So last week, I got to get myself fly. I got to make sure I'm the hostesses with the mostesses and make sure I'm propped and ready and all that good stuff. Hello, Claudia. Thank you for joining in. Before I get started, I want to tell you about PeriGirls. PeriGirls is a group of women who support women on Periscope. And you can join our group for tips, tricks, and training. You can catch us at www.perigirls.com. And we don't just have the book club. Oh, my God. We've got so much stuff going on today. It is amazing. I cannot wait, guys. We have a Pass the Cast today. It's about 15 minutes after this is over. You just joined. Welcome to an amazing group of women. We are over. We don't have that Pass the Cast. It's like a guest Pass the Cast. Something like that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like a different type of Pass the Cast. I'll pull it up. It's all good, Deborah. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, it's the Heart Tribes. Thank you, Julie. I forget. It's the Heart Tribes. So they got their little thing going on. And I kind of saw it pop up and I was like, I'm going to have to check that out. But I'll look before we get done. But it's all good. That's just how much stuff we got going on. We are an amazing group of women. Deborah Fox is one of your leaders and she is on here. So make sure that you are following her. And guys, I want to jump right. She said, did too much. I love that meme. Did too much. But you know what? I love it that we're versatile because that gives everybody a chance to find your niche and find where you fit in. And you find that thing that interests you. Oh, we got all about hair. You're going to make sure my stuff is on fleek. Okay, I love that handle. So our book that we are reading is The Shift by Dr. Wayne Dyer. So last week we had the jokey jokes, right? We said that he looked like Bruce Willis. And somebody said that he looked like the dude from The Shield. But either way, no matter how he looks, he is an extraordinary man, and he has written an extraordinary book. And R.I.P. Dr. Dyer, rest in peace. And when we say, what about Russia? His ideas, it doesn't matter where you live. And you're going to find that out. So you just hang on. Hey there, Beth. Look, let me get my little notes. I learned this from Deborah Fox, have your stuff ready, I learned from the best. So today, our discussion, over last week, we discussed that we would, girl, I'm ready. We discussed that we would read chapter 1 and we would watch the movie. And the interesting fact about Dr. Dyer is usually the book comes first and the movie just messes it up, right? So Dr. Dyer did one better. He said, I'm going to do a movie and then I'm going to have the book accompany the movie so it doesn't mess it up. And the character that I want to talk about today in the movie and in the book, thank you all about hair. The person I want to talk about today, the character that I want to talk about is David. Now, David in the movie, Cocoa and Mint Hearts, I love it. David in the movie, he is the filmmaker. And he's going after something and he's going after something. And have you ever just wanted something so bad that you missed the blessing? And I didn't watch the entire movie because I want to wait until we get to chapter 2. I want to find out what happens to David, because a lot of times in life we're chasing after one thing when the one thing that we need and the one thing that it could be our breakthrough is right there. And so I am just watching David and I'm looking at myself. So chapter 1, our discussion for today. I don't know if you ever watched that one commercial. It's the spaghetti sauce commercial. And he says, it's in there. It's in there. And so our discussion for today is, it's in there. It's in there. Do we got another PeriGirl leader in the house? Hey, healthy hula girl. Yes. And so in chapter 1, we are looking to find out, where do we come from? Why are we here? And so he talks a lot about ego in chapter 1. And one thing he said in the movie, yes. Ooh, Layla, that's awesome. Layla says focusing on the goal and not the journey. Guys, it's kind of like The Alchemist. All these books are running together. You're so focused on the goal, you're missing everything in between. Girl, you hit that on the nail. And he talked about the ego. And I want to leave this with you before we begin to discuss some more. And he says, the ego makes you always right. If you had everything you needed for 9 months, why is this not true for the next 90 years? Welcome, Opa-Dopa girl. I had to give you some props. And he also states that we really don't come from our parents. We come from spirit. And he talked about some things, as if we had everything we needed when we were born, we had to focus on the process. This is what you teach in art. All right. I love it. So you guys are going to love this discussion. Dr. Dyer says, we came from a source, and this source is everything. How do we get to feel like we get separated? We are connected in spirit. How do we align? And he gives us a good analogy. He says, you'll never get an acorn out of a rose bush. So how many of us have tried to be that acorn? You're the acorn, but you're trying to get a rose bush. What you plant and what you are and the matter that you come from, that is who you are. And I love his perspective of if we walk in our natural gifts and talents, then we're okay. If we go with the flow. And I love David in the movie because David's not going with the flow. He is actually filming a movie with Dr. Dyer, but he's on the phone the whole time trying to get another movie. Yes, you reap what you sow. I like that. So I want to make sure I don't miss out on my notes because this is some good stuff. And so he says that there are 3 things that deal with ego that bother us, and they come with 3 components. Okay, if we are what we have, who are we when it all goes away? How many of you out there have lost something? So if we He goes, who's that, Brooklyn? Okay, welcome. He says, if we are what we have, who are we when it all goes away? Guys, if we go buy stuff, is what he's talking about in chapter 1. We came here with absolutely nothing. We had everything we needed as we were formed in the wombs of our mothers. Everything that we needed, we had. We didn't have to worry about food. We didn't have to worry about anything. But when we come here, even when we start buying our kids toys for Christmas, we start placing values on stuff. And we start really, really early. And this is a perfect time to read this book. And I'm just telling you, what happens if you lose everything? If you place your value on your job, what happens when you lose your job? If you place your value on your house, what happens when you lose your house? Are you not worthy? Are you worthless? It's The Shift by Dr. Dyer. Yes, it's an awesome book. And he asked these questions. And so that's the first component of ego. And Princess Sub says, we are not defined by our titles or jobs, by defining what the Creator called us. Yes, and when we're children, we understand that. But as we learn and grow, thank you, Opadopa, as we learn and grow, those messages get put in our head. Oh, if my hair looks this way, or if I dress this way. And so that was the first component of ego that we need to work on, is that he's asking us to look at. If we are what we have, what do we do when it all goes away? You're getting to it. Our purpose. Y'all getting ahead of me, but I love it. All right. So the second component of ego. Now, this one was a big one for me, ladies. I don't know about you, but this is one that almost took me up out of here. This is a big one for me. I am what I do. Ooh, that is the second component of ego that he's talking about in chapter 1. Achievement, consumed with accomplishments. Guys, for some reason, I thought if I go get all these degrees and I get all these promotions and I got this status, then I am the bomb.com. I have to have this accreditation by my name. Guys, it's ridiculous. And I'm not bragging. It's ridiculous how many credentials I have. And you know, the way that I went about those credentials, my intention was so wrong, because I thought that join the club, I thought that if I had these credentials, people would respect me and I would be somebody. Hey, Miss Cassandra Gay, thank you for joining the conversation. I thought if I get that AIC, that associate in claims, I get that bachelor's in accounting, I get that master's in business administration, I thought that was going to make me everything. That was what I do. Okay. I'm a manager. I'm your boss. I'm the boss of you. You see what I'm saying? All those achievements, accomplishments. I think I was drunk with, you know how they say you're drunk with power? I think I was drunk with achievements, because on the inside, I really didn't feel like anybody. And I was consumed with just gathering more and more credentials and those papers. And I'm not ashamed to tell you, I could take you and let you look at my wall. Matter of fact, let's move this. This is our discussion, right? I can take you and let you look at my wall. And I thought, like, all these things right here, all these degrees, all these different things, I thought those were the things that were going to make me somebody. Oh, and I got more. And that's the sad part, guys. I got more, but they didn't make me happy. They didn't make me happy. They didn't fulfill my life. And so that second component of achievements, if you're someone that is consumed by achievement, you got to realize you are somebody. You are important before any achievements. You were created for a purpose. So we all have something great, and we don't need all those initials behind our name. My name is already long anyway. Thank you. I'm glad I awakened too, because girl, I was asleep. I was still in the morning of my life. And that's the whole purpose of this book. He's saying taking your life from ambition to meaning. God, I was so in the morning of my life. It didn't matter if I had 12 degrees. I was so immature in my thinking and undervaluing myself and who I was. And if I'm speaking to someone out there, you know, we need to understand, and I'm speaking to myself as I speak to you, where we come from. And we come from a great creation. We are an awesome creation. The world will always marvel at how we were created. So we're awesome sauce. When we get here, we were created in awesome sauce. We don't have to have all that stuff. We don't have to. You like that? I was in the morning of my life. You know, some people never get past the morning stage. You know how some people say, I'm not a morning person, and they're grumpy all the time? What about those people that are grumpy all the time? You know what? They're still in the morning stage. They haven't got their coffee. They haven't woken up to understand how awesome they truly are. Sorry I spent so much time on the second component, but that's one of the personal things for me that I know was a struggle. That is what almost made me not cease to exist. That is what almost took me out of here. It's because when I lost those accomplishments, when I lost that job, when I lost that prestige and everything that was attached to it, I lost myself, and I didn't think I was worth anything. So the second component for me is just like, it hit me upside the head. So guys, I'm glad you challenged me to watch the movie, and it just really hit me. And so I feel like I'm David in the movie, and I'm not David anymore, but I'm learning from David's character. He is a reflection of my behavior. He's a reflection of all the things that I was missing. So understanding that we come from a greater purpose and we come from a great thing. Chapter 1, that's 31 pages of awesome sauce. Dr. Dyer says we come from something great. So how can you think that you're nothing? So, y'all ready for number 3? This might take the last 30 minutes of this broadcast, because number 3, the third component of ego, it's going to hit all of us. Are y'all ready? It says, I am what people think of me. I'm going to go ahead and let that marinate for a second. Yeah. Number 3, I am what people think of me. I think the discussion today needs to stay with ego. We need to look at these 3 components of ego. I am what I have. I am what I do. I am what people think of me. And so the notes that I took from that were, and I want to speak to women, and if there are men on the scope, I'm still speaking to you, but I want to focus on the women because PeriGirls is a group that supports women. And we are so programmed that the only way that we can be fulfilling is to fulfill our family duties. In the movie, the mom is talking about how she wants to paint the trees. And the baby goes, Mama, you're not a painter. You never paint anything. How often do we become mothers and caregivers and wives? And don't hate on it, girlfriends too. Because you know some of us girlfriends, we got some boyfriends that we still doing a bunch of stuff for. Baby mamas, and I don't like to say baby mamas, but that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and keep it real. It should be mother of the child, but baby mamas, that's a status. And we want to get ourselves away from that. But we get in these different roles and we lose ourselves. We lose ourselves. We don't technically come from our parents, right? So we're all, even when you have that child is created for a purpose. That child has a destiny. That child has a call on his life or her life, something that they're supposed to do. So when we become mothers and caregivers and wives, it's wonderful that we are dutiful in taking care of our families, but we must take care of ourselves. And that is a hard lesson that I had to learn. And that's why I work out so much. People are like, you're always running, you're always walking, because I can't be a good wife. I can't be a good mother. I can't be a good teacher if I don't take care of me first, this temple, this creation, and I'm not strong. I can't be strong for all the other people in my life. And so, you've got to think of yourself, but this is another one I struggle with. I guess all my truth is going to come out during this book. I mean, y'all just going to know all my business, and feel free to share if it's you too. I am what people think of me. Guys, as a teacher, I've lost so many students this year. I can count on 2 hands, and this is really sad. I can count on 2 hands how many children have taken their lives because people sent them Snapchats and messages and told them you're fat, you're ugly, you're a freak. And they took their lives. I was all over that anti-bullying campaign because it's so close to home. I am what people think of me. Guys, we have got to teach our children We have got to reprogram ourselves that we are not what people think of you, because what people think of you is fleeting. Dr. Dyer says, people change their thoughts like they change their underwear. Yeah. Close to home. Okay. Yeah. It's close to home, but I'm glad that we're growing and learning together. That third component, what people think of me. And that's why I love the PeriGirls. You know what? There's so many diverse types of women. We look so different. We have different personalities. We have different energies. On the PeriGirls Leaders Team, you're going to get somebody that's rah-rah up here. And then you got Catherine. And then you got Gina. Aloha. And then you got Deb with the glam. And then you got our fearless leader, Go Rice Girl. She's just a bomb.com. And then you got me, a ball of energy. And then you got Web Evie with all of her eclecticness. Oh my gosh. And you got Bling Bling. Oh my gosh, got a heart for kids? Hey, I teach the grown ones, but I love PG kids. And then you got Alicia, so talented and sings like an angel. And I could go on and on and on. And I learned so much from the different leaders in this group. And not just the leaders. I learned from the ladies in this group. We're from different countries. We're from different genres. We're from different races. We're all so different. And I believe that it serves a purpose. And so working on, it's coming from my heart because, this is live. We all serve a purpose. And if we all looked alike, we're not always going to look alike. We're not always going to think alike. I think that's what makes life so amazing. I think that's what makes life great, is that, we're all different. And so we really need to focus on knowing who we are and knowing what our calling is. And he says, don't ignore your calling. We all have a right to fulfill our purpose. Does Dr. Dyer give any advice of how to detach yourself from others' thoughts? Yes, he does. You ready? Good. Thank you. I love your questions. They always prompt me back. So Dr. Dyer states, we came from a source, right? This is how you're going to separate yourself from other people's thinking of you. Thank you for the questions. We came from a source, and this source is everything. How do we get to feel like we're separated? We're connected in spirit. So understand that no matter what yes, we are here for amazing things and we're blessed to have our paths cross. Yes. It says, how do we align? You've got to align back with yourself. Just like what Healthy Hula Girl says, we all are here for a purpose and we're all here to do great things. You got to get back to you. And it used to make me upset when my mama would be like, don't be worrying about what they say. Don't be worrying about what they say. Well, it's easier said than done. But once you align with your purpose and walk in your gifts and your talents, you won't worry so much about what other people think. And understand, you can't get an acorn out of a rose bush. If you're meant to be an acorn, that's what you are. If you're meant to be a rose and work that rose. Work it for all it's worth. As they say, ride it till the wheels fall off, because that is your purpose. He says, operating out of bliss over ambition, thinking out of the ego. And so his 3 steps to help you get out of your ego is to understand that, to look at those components of your life where I am what I have, I am what I do, and I am what people think of me. You need to replace your value in what others think of you and place value on what you think of you. Even if you lost your house, even if you lost your cars, even if you lost everything was of value to you, you still knew that you had purpose and you still knew that you had value. Maybe you don't have the newest clothes. Maybe you don't have the newest car, but it doesn't devalue you and it doesn't devalue your purpose. So what, they fired you? So what, you got laid off? And yes, we're all from planet Earth. We're all created from the same source. Thank you, Cookie Ivan, for your question. Yes. And understand that it's not about what we do just because we have a job. We have a purpose. And I like Claudia because, Claudia, you're an artist. You express yourself in your art. And it's beautiful and it speaks to people. And that is your gift. That is your gift, and I love it. Hello, thank you for joining our scope. Oh, that's so sweet. Alicia, do you understand what music does for people when you sing? It soothes a savage beast. I can't do studying. How would you explain our existence to someone who doesn't exist with a physical body? We all have a spirit. We all have a spirit. We're all connected in spirit. And he says this. Oh, no problem. Your art saves you daily. Thank you. He says your dharma is something that you will never find, or your purpose, because it's always connected to you. On time, purpose, no need for anyone to confirm your awesomeness. So today, we're all awesome. Yes. All souls have energy. Yes, our souls have energy. And I hope and I pray that my soul has a positive energy. Yes, you are whole, powerful, strong, loving, harmonious, and happy. I love that, Alicia. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love that energy. And when Gina says aloha, you know, some of our energy just comes out. And that's why I love Periscope. And I love that we can talk about things here, because this isn't fake. This is real. You get everything coming from the broadcaster's heart. You get everything and you can see it. Yes. Yes, I do. So here's my notes. And yes, I do. I'm not ashamed. I know Christ. It says, when we are attached to money, movie accomplishments, we lose who we are. Not survival, but a shift. And that's what this book is about. Now we're getting to what this book is about. A shift. Shift away from the mourning external. You did not find your calling, but your calling finds you and compels you to live it out loud. Ooh. Oh, wow. This whole discussion is about him. Oh, thank you, Simply Moxie. This is spiritual. We're talking about the spiritual, our spirit man, our inner man. I love that. That was awesome. And I want to repeat this. When we are attached to money, accomplishments, we lose who we are. Not survival, but a shift. A shift away from the morning, which are the external things in our life, to the afternoon of your life, a higher place. The shift is a place in your life where you start to be guided by something larger than yourself. Now, these are my notes that I got from him. The shift is a place in your life where you start to be guided by something larger than you. Once you cross over into the afternoon of your life, there is no turning back. Guys, I have a testimony. Once you cross over and you start living in your purpose, you will make different decisions. This week, I got offered a job. I have not worked a regular job since 2012. I have been out there following my purpose. I got offered a job. Guys, I went to the interview in sweats. I was just leaving the gym. I went to the interview in sweats. I was looking a hot mess, and they still wanted me to come back. And do you guys know, I turned down that job. I'm following my dreams. I'm living in my purpose. I have not worked a regular job since I got let go in 2012. And to pursue my life, I walked away from that job and I thought that everything was over. I thought my life was over. I thought I was no one and I needed a job. I needed a title. Well, this week, I'm telling you, I looked at that and I said, I've been here before. And I do believe that a shift took place in my life this week because guess what? I declined and I'm going to follow my dreams. I know what my purpose is. My purpose is to spread a message, and my purpose is to use vehicles such as this to spread that message of positivity and spirituality and walking in your purpose. And hopefully my story will encourage someone else. And so this book and this book club has been so encouraging. Guys, follow your dreams. No, I don't have money like I used to, but I am living to tell you I am happy. And I turned down a job, y'all. It was a job we're talking about. And so, you know what that tells me? I'm working on that first component of ego. It ain't about what I have. We're not what we have, guys. If we have nothing, I eat great. If we have nothing, we're still awesome sauce. I love it. And so David in the movie, I want to make sure I don't miss this so we can talk about it. So in the movie, the last part that I watched that kind of coordinates with chapter 1, David is the guy that's making the movie. How do you cope with negativity? Get out of ego. I can keep this on the book. Step 1, looking at our ego, getting out of our ego, because a lot of times that's when people are negative, that is their views. And so that would be the third component of ego. So a lot of times when we deal with negativity, dealing with ego, yes, ego. I am what people think of me. I am what I have. Yes, yes. If you don't focus on what people think of you, if you already know your greatness and you already know that you're worthy, with someone, let go of your ego. If you already know that you have a purpose and you're solid in that, and you know that your purpose is chasing you down and you don't have to go find it. Guys, we got to go hunt for jobs. You got to look in the paper. You got to fill out an application. You got to do all these things to get a job when your purpose is just running you down. And I'm telling you, I have been a public speaker since I stopped working. Thank you so much, Kimberly Creates. Love your bangs. I have been a public speaker for 3 years, right? I'm following now. I'm good. I've been a public speaker for a long time. And guys, I don't have a booking agent. Do you understand that everyone that books me, they find me and they book me? That is your purpose following you and chasing you down. And I didn't realize that that's my calling. You're calling me to speak? I'm a manager. You're calling me to host your event? I'm a manager. No, I wasn't. My calling is a speaker. My calling, I am the giver of useful information and I inspire. So I encourage you to find that I statement today. Get out of your ego and this is Independence Day. Yes, find your I statement. What is your I? What is it that you do that you know that you're great and you don't have to worry about what you have, what you do, or what other people think of you? So when we talk about the shift, we have about 15 more minutes. So I want to make sure that I get to the discussion of the shift. Holla. So I want to make sure he tells us when there's a shift going on in our life, there's 4 things that we need to understand are going on. He says a shift is preceded by what he calls quantum moments. And so if you have something to share with me, if you have a quantum moment or something that you can relate, go ahead and share. He says these quantum moments in our life are 4 things. They're vivid, they're a surprise, they're benevolent, and they always feel good, and they're enduring, they're lasting, it's not fleeting. So these quantum moments in our life, they're vivid, they're a surprise, they're benevolent, and they're enduring. It's those things that happen to you that you didn't even expect. It's a surprise and you're just like, what? It just comes out of nowhere. And you're like, I don't even understand how I got here. Has anybody ever been like that in your life where you're like, I don't even understand how I got here. I don't even understand how this opportunity came my way, but it did, and it changes your life. And so when you are experiencing a shift, you won't ever forget it. Guys, I'm telling you, this week when the job offer came, it was like something clicked inside of my head. And I said, I've been here before. I felt this before. And when I chased after it, this is what I ended up with. So this time I'm going to make a different decision. This time I'm going to trust my heart and follow my purpose. And so Princess Sub says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Guys, do you know how many times I've been through that? How many times I've been on my path and I've been going, and then this job comes along. And then I go, ooh, well, maybe I should take that job. Okay, well, maybe I should do that. It pays a lot of money. I won't have to work so much. Peace out. Hey, Delta Moxie, thank you for joining in our scope. This is your girl, B. Smith, and we are having an in-depth discussion of Dr. Dyer's book, The Shift, our Bruce Willis lookalike. Thank you, Princess Sub. You think I'm ready? I believe so too. I'm ready for my purpose. I'm ready. It's not about what I have. It's not about what people think of me. It's not about what I do. Because if you ask me what I do right now, I do a whole bunch of different stuff. And I don't have to be put in a box. So for you out there that are different, for you out there that have different things that you offer the universe, I encourage you to keep doing those things, because I guarantee you, when you're following your purpose, those things feel good to your soul. I ain't hungry. You can look at me and tell I ain't missing a meal. Do I really need all that money? Look, I ain't hungry. I'm not missing anything, but for some reason in our minds, hey, Wolf Mama, we make ourselves think that we need all these things. We teach our kids. Chapter 1 is talking about that same thing. We start out letting our kids know that they're not enough. They're not enough. When they take our pots and pans and they play with them, we tell them, put my pots up, and we go buy them an easy bake oven. We let them know that their surroundings are not enough. I know that's a crazy analogy, but it's real. We teach people that what they have is not enough. We teach people that, oh, that's not good enough. You are not your job, but a mountain mover. That sounds like better than a job anyway. And do we understand that when we put, and values and jobs are good. Trust me, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling people don't work. I'm saying make sure that you don't put all your value in that job. Don't put all your self-worth in that job. Don't put all your self-worth in that house. In 2008, after everything crashed, I watched my neighbors who had lived in this neighborhood for 20 and 30 years. When the crash happened, I watched them move out of their homes. I had a neighbor that had to move to a rest home because they could no longer afford to live in their house that they had paid for many years. And could you imagine the sadness if you place your value on things? What happens when you lose them? I live in a state where we have tornadoes, and people lose their houses in the blink of an eye. I live in a state where my neighbor had the most beautiful trees, and last week we had an ice storm and he lost all his trees. If we place value in those things that don't last, then what happens when they're gone? So I do love the component number 1. So I want to make sure that we understand the way that we make a shift and we begin a shift in chapter 1 is we need to understand where we come from, and we come from greatness. Like I said, to the end of time, we will always try to understand where man came from, how this creation how we speak so many different languages, how we live in so many different places, how we have so many different ideas about life. Chapter 1 is just really hitting on that. We are an awesome creation. Just us being created is awesome. How we got here is awesome. Yes, got it, girl. You know I'm the chief blocker. How we got here is amazing. And we were giving everything we needed to be here. So the other stuff is nice. And I like my house. Don't get me wrong. I like my clothes. I like my earrings. But they don't make me. So if you catch me dressed up, I'm going to be the same. If you catch me not dressed up, I'm going to be the same. If you catch me in the store, I'm going to be the same, because I am happy with who I am. I do not need validation from anyone. And that's what chapter 1 is talking about. If you understand that you come from greatness, you don't need it. So I want to recap. I want to reiterate the 3 components of ego that we're going to be working on this week. So next week, we're going to read chapter 2, and we're going to go into the next phase of the book. And I will give you that chapter here really, really quick if you give me a second. You know, I actually got the book. You know, it's like crazy. So, chapter 1 is from. Now, next week, we're going to read chapter 2, and that is really going to focus on the ambition. And so that's why I introduced my personal stories about my job. So next week, start thinking about those times in your life where you have been overcome with ambition and how those things affect you. Sorry, guys. That was a PeriGirls alarm. That's amazing. Start thinking about ambition and how ambition affected your life. Because I know ambition affected mine. I put everything into my job and who I was and my title. I know. and my title. And so next week we'll be talking about ambition, and that is in chapter 2. So just remember, if we are what we have, who are we when it all goes away? These are just things to think about. I am what I do, the second component of ego. Let's watch how we feel about achievement. Are we consumed with accomplishments? Do we need those accomplishments to make us feel like we are valued? Or do we not understand that we come from value? So we don't need that. I don't need your validation, ma'am, sir. And number 3, I am what people think of me. Guys, we've got to understand that how people think of you can change from one day to the next. You must know who you are. And that's what Dr. Dyer is saying. We've got to make a shift in our thinking. We've got to make a shift in how we feel about ourselves. This is telling us to look inward and appreciate who we are on the inside and understand. And if we know ourselves, can't nobody come and tell us who we are, because we know who we are. We appreciate your opinion. Thank you very much. Right. So in the movie, and we'll talk more about him next week, because David is dealing with ambition. And so I want to make sure I finish up the movie and see what happens with Mr. David. So I put my notes in the movie. We watch David, the filmmaker, struggle with loss, but he fails to live in the moment where he can be learning from Dr. Dyer. He should be realizing that he's living his dream. Guys, in the movie that accompanies the book, David is he's written a movie and he's trying to get it produced or whatever. And he's on the people so hard, that they end up replacing him. And so he's filming Dr. Dyer the whole time. Dr. Dyer is giving all this knowledge and he's giving all this good stuff. And he doesn't realize you're filming one of the greatest authors known to man, and you are totally crying about an opportunity that's not even given to you yet, when you've got an opportunity right there in your face and you're not enjoying it. How many of us have things that are right there in front of our face? We have people in our lives that are right there every day, but because we want someone else to love us, we're not appreciating those people that are right there, those people that care for us, those people that are there for us when things get bad. But that one boy in high school you liked. You had the one guy that liked you, but you had the one guy that you liked. You spent all your time chasing him. You spend all your time chasing the one that don't like you, and you're neglecting the one that does. And so we need to learn to accept love where it comes from and accept where we are in life and understand that we are right on time. Our purpose is connected to us. We just need to make sure that we are aligned in our purpose. And so we have a few minutes left. It's almost time to close. Thank you, Gina. I'm glad I have enjoyed this time with you today. It's been amazing. I hope that you will focus on the 3 components of ego so that we can shift together. I hope during our time together in this book, we have about 2 more weeks with this title, that we learn to make a shift. And the first thing that we need to do to separate ourselves from others' thoughts of us so that we can make that shift is we need to understand, look around us. If we are what we have, who are we when it all goes away? Let's stop placing focus on what we have. That our value is not in what we have. Our value is not in what we do. And our value is not in what others think of us. Our value is in who we are. Simply that. Simply that. Our value is in who we are. Simply. Thank you. And I always pray that I close with a good close. And I just want to leave you with that today. Your value is in who you are. And I am so glad that you ladies are a part of the PeriGirls. Yes, our value is in who we are. Simply that. Without a thing, the same way we came to this earth. When babies come, they don't have anything. They don't have anything. They don't have anything. And that's my timer to tell me that my time is up. But they don't have anything. When babies come, they don't have anything. And we love them and we hold them. And they're so precious to us. And we should see ourselves the same way. We are so precious. We are so worthy. And I thank you guys for joining me today, and know that you're precious. You're just like that newborn baby without anything. We don't have to buy friendships. We don't have to buy people. Nothing. No, thank you for your time. And I hope that you will join back in, stay with the Perry Girls. We've got a lot of things going on. I believe we have a Heart Tribe Pass the Cast today, which starts at 3:00. So hang on, look for your notifications. Make sure that you are following the Perry Girls. I will put the replay of this of this episode in the event so that you guys can go ahead and watch the replay. But the 3 components of ego that we'll look at this week: our value is not in what we have. Our value is not in what we do. Our value is not in what others think of us. Our value is in who we are. Thank you guys. I will see you next Friday. Oh, and there's a blab with Steph and Jenny Q. Hey, so there's a blab. Thank you, Gina. There's a blab with Steph and Jenny Q. So you can follow the Perry Girls right on over to Blab. And you guys have a super fantastic afternoon. It's been great. Blab. Go to Blab. Bye.